She thought she was just doing the right thing. But what happened next changed her life forever. This is not just a story, it's a reminder that kindness, even when unnoticed, has a power all its own. In a world that often rewards efficiency over empathy, one young woman chose to be different. She didn't know who was watching. She didn't expect anything back. She simply led with heart. And in return, the universe gave her a second chance she never saw coming. Today, we tell the story of Emily, a quiet hero in an apron, whose simple act of compassion turned her life upside down in the best way possible. So grab a warm drink, settle in, and let us share with you a daily warmth story you won't soon forget. Meet Emily. 26 years old. Waitress at Sunny's Diner. Every morning, Emily wakes up before sunrise, ties her worn-out shoes, kisses her mom and little sister goodbye, and walks 2 kilometers to work. Rain or shine, she's never late. Life isn't easy for Emily. Her mother is recovering from surgery. Her younger sister, Lily, is just 10, still in school. Emily is the breadwinner, and every tip counts. But despite her struggles, Emily wears a smile. Not the kind you fake. A real one. The kind that says, "I'm grateful to be here." The regulars love her. She remembers every name, every favorite dish. She sneaks extra whipped cream on pancakes for the kids and always asks the elderly if they need help with their chairs. Emily is not just a waitress. She's a beam of light in that little corner diner. But beneath the smiles and coffee refills lies a quiet exhaustion, the kind you carry alone. Emily's world is fragile. One bad shift, one unexpected bill, and it all could collapse. And yet, every single day, she chooses hope. And she chooses kindness. Not because it's easy, but because it's who she is. One rainy morning, Emily's routine was interrupted. The diner was busy, as usual, with the hum of coffee machines and the clinking of silverware. But something felt off. There was tension in the air. Her manager, Helen, was pacing by the counter, her eyes scanning the room. A few moments later, Emily saw him, an older man, disheveled, his clothes worn and shoes mismatched. He looked out of place, but Emily didn't hesitate. She gave him her usual warm smile and led him to a seat by the window. The man looked like he needed more than just food. His face, worn with age, seemed tired, like he was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. But Emily didn't judge. She took his order kindly and asked if he needed anything else. She treated him like any other guest, making sure he felt comfortable. But Helen wasn't pleased. She saw Emily offering the man a free refill on his coffee, even though he hadn't ordered another one. "Emily, what do you think you're doing? We don't just give things away for free," Helen snapped, her voice sharp. Emily froze. She didn't want to cause trouble, but she couldn't bring herself to treat the man differently. It wasn't in her nature. "He seems like he could use a little kindness," Emily said quietly, her voice apologetic. Helen's glare didn't soften. Emily's heart sank. She knew what was coming. Later that day, after the man left, Helen called Emily into the office. The mood was tense. Emily stood nervously, her heart pounding in her chest. "You've gone too far this time," Helen said. "You don't make the rules here, Emily. You can't just give away food and drinks like it's nothing." Emily tried to explain. She tried to justify her actions, but Helen wasn't listening. It didn't matter. Emily was being let go. "You're fired," Helen said, her words cold and final. The shock hit her like a punch to the gut. She couldn't believe it. She had done nothing wrong. But in that moment, it didn't matter. All that mattered was that the job she loved, the one that gave her purpose, was gone. Emily grabbed her apron, her hands shaking. She looked around the diner one last time, the place she had poured her heart into. Her mind raced with questions. How would she pay her bills? What would she tell her mom? But deep down, she knew something that she had learned long ago: she couldn't let this break her. She had to keep going. Because, no matter how hard things got, she always had her kindness. The next day, Emily woke up early, the weight of yesterday's event still heavy on her shoulders. She felt lost, uncertain about what the future held. She didn't know where to turn or what to do. But then, as if by fate, there was a knock on her door. When Emily opened it, she found a man standing there, holding a bouquet of flowers. He was the man from the diner, the one she had served the day before. "Emily?" he asked, a warm smile on his face. Emily blinked in surprise. "Yes. Can I help you?" The man's smile widened. "You probably don't recognize me, but I was the customer you served yesterday. I wanted to apologize for what happened. I'm actually not just any customer. I'm Harrison, the CEO of this entire restaurant chain. And I've been undercover." Emily's eyes widened. The pieces of the puzzle slowly started to fit together. Harrison was the man she had helped, the man she had treated with kindness, without any idea of who he really was. "I know you were fired," Harrison continued, his voice sincere. "And I want to make it right. You didn't deserve that. You are exactly the kind of person I want running my restaurant. In fact, I'd like to offer you a job as the new manager of Sunny's Diner." Emily was stunned. Her breath caught in her throat. She had never expected this. She had never even dreamed that this moment, this twist of fate, could happen. I don't know what to say," Emily whispered, her eyes brimming with tears. "I didn't think anyone cared." Harrison chuckled softly. "I care. And I want people like you in charge. People who understand that kindness is what makes a business truly thrive." It was a surreal moment, one that Emily would never forget. From the very depths of her despair, she had been given a second chance. And this time, she wasn't just a waitress anymore. She was in control of her destiny. Emily's first day as manager felt like a dream. It wasn't just the title, though. It was the feeling of being seen, truly seen, for the first time. The staff greeted her with warm smiles, and even Helen, who had been her harshest critic, seemed to soften. Under Emily's leadership, Sunny's Diner became a place of warmth and respect. She introduced new policies that focused on kindness, empathy, and customer care. No longer did the staff fear making small mistakes, instead, they were encouraged to learn and grow. Emily had created an environment where people could thrive, not just survive. But it wasn't just the staff that Emily focused on. She made sure that each customer felt like they mattered, just as they always had, but now with the added attention and care of a manager who truly understood them. One afternoon, just weeks after her promotion, Harrison came back to visit. He sat in Emily's section, as he had the first time, but this time, he wasn't undercover. He was there to see how she was doing. Emily smiled as she approached his table, offering him the same warm greeting she had all those months ago. But this time, she wasn't just a waitress. She was a manager, and the respect she had earned was reflected in the way she carried herself. "You've done more than I ever expected," Harrison said, his voice full of pride. "You've turned this place around. I knew I made the right choice." Emily beamed, her heart full. She knew that this second chance wasn't just a gift. It was a reminder that kindness, when given freely, always finds its way back. It might take time, but it will always come. And as Emily stood behind the counter, watching her team work together, she realized that sometimes, the hardest moments in life can lead to the most beautiful ones. All she had to do was keep believing. And keep being kind. Months passed since Emily's promotion, and Sunny's Diner had never been more alive. The atmosphere was brighter, the customers happier, and the staff more motivated. Emily had brought something new to the table, not just as a manager, but as someone who truly cared. Each morning, she arrived early, just like before, but now there was a quiet sense of pride in her steps. She still walked to work, still greeted each customer with a smile, but now she carried the weight of a leadership role, one that was built not just on rules, but on respect and empathy. One of the biggest changes she made was the Pay It Forward initiative. Emily introduced a program where customers who could afford it could pay for someone else's meal anonymously. It wasn't just about feeding others, it was about creating a community where kindness could be passed along, just like the kindness Emily had once given to a stranger, without expectation. And the best part? It worked. The diner saw more returning customers, more happy faces, and a stronger sense of community. One day, as Emily was reviewing the books in her office, a familiar face walked in. It was Mildred, the elderly woman Emily had always cared for when she was a waitress. Mildred had become a regular, always sitting at her favorite booth by the window. "Emily," Mildred said, her voice a little shaky but warm as ever, "I wanted to thank you. Your kindness all those years has made all the difference in my life. I don't know if you know this, but I've been bringing a little extra tip each week to pay for someone's coffee, just like you taught me. I feel like I'm giving back, just like you did for me." Emily's heart swelled. She never thought her small acts of kindness could have such a ripple effect. But as she looked at Mildred, she realized that this was exactly what it was all about, creating a world where kindness spreads, where people feel seen and appreciated. She had never set out to be a manager or a leader. She had never expected anything in return. She had just wanted to make the world a little brighter, one small act at a time. Later that evening, Emily stood behind the counter, watching the diner bustle with life. Harrison, the CEO, stopped by once again, this time with a special surprise. "Emily, I've been watching your progress, and I have to say, you've done more than turn this diner around. You've set an example of what it means to lead with heart. And because of that, I'm offering you something I think you deserve, a promotion to regional manager. You'll have the chance to take your vision of kindness to other locations." Emily's jaw dropped. Regional manager? She had never imagined this kind of opportunity. "But remember," Harrison said, smiling, "no matter how far you go, always lead with the same heart you have now. It's the reason you've come this far." Emily smiled, feeling her chest swell with pride. She was still the same Emily, the one who walked in the rain to work, the one who gave her all to a job, and the one who believed in kindness, even when no one else did. But now, she had the opportunity to make an even bigger difference. She looked around at her team, at the customers, at the place that had once felt like just a job. It was so much more than that now. It was a family. And the best part? It wasn't just Emily who was leading the change. It was everyone who had ever been touched by her simple act of kindness. In that moment, Emily realized something: kindness, no matter how small, is never wasted. It always comes back, sometimes in ways we never expect. And as Emily walked home that evening, the world felt a little lighter. She didn't know what the future would bring, but she knew one thing for sure: she would never stop leading with kindness. It was the most powerful gift she had to offer. Sometimes, the hardest moments in life are the ones that lead us to where we're truly meant to be. Emily's journey wasn't easy, but it was one built on the power of kindness and the belief that everyone deserves a second chance. And in the end, that belief not only changed her life but the lives of everyone around her. If there's one thing we can take away from Emily's story, it's this: kindness is never wasted. It may not always be recognized right away, and it may not always be easy, but it has the power to change lives, and to bring second chances when we least expect them. So, the next time you see someone who needs a little help, a little kindness, remember Emily. Remember that the smallest acts of goodness can lead to the greatest transformations. And who knows? Maybe your second chance is just around the corner, waiting for you to take that first step with a kind heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's story here on Feel More. We hope this story has inspired you to see how small acts of kindness can truly change lives, not just the lives of others, but your own as well. If you enjoyed this meaningful story, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future videos. Remember, kindness isn't just something you do, it's a way of life. Wishing you a wonderful day ahead, and always lead your life with a heart full of love.